Hey guys, DJ Jack here with you another video here. And in this video, I have not seen The Little Mermaid yet, but as soon as I see that movie, I will do my review of that movie. But we're gonna do Minions 2: The Rise of Groot this time. I watched it this evening on Netflix. Probably say it's probably one of my most favorite Despicable Me movies. It took place when Groot was a kid, before the first Despicable Me, and I really liked it. We got to see the Doctor, his friend basically, as younger in this movie, because it took place before Despicable Me. A lot of the characters were really young. I mean, Groot was only a kid, and the guy that Groot, the Doctor from Despicable Me, who's Groot's friend basically, he works in his evil basement dorm place. Yeah, we know his secret cave, whatever. We got to see him younger, and he basically owned a record store in this movie. That was pretty interesting to see. Before he got a job, he got a record store, and then down in you go through the bathroom, and down in the basement, that's where the villains are. The villains that are the true villains before Groot becomes a villain, who Groot tries to, let's just say his dream is to become a professional, real evil villain someday. He goes to the villains, in the movie. And he says he's such a little guy. What is it? He has nothing to do, he's too little to be villains. You gotta be strong and tall, like us, they say something like them. But he proves them wrong, because he ends up stealing the crystal necklace, and that's this whole movie. And then he gives it to the minions, and the minions end up giving it to a kid, and then the kid ends up getting it to his uncle, and it's back and forth. These villains are on the hike for this crystal necklace, and hidden in some dragon's keep at the very beginning of the movie, and they throw one of their villain teammates off the cliff. It's insane, but it's interesting. Groot starts off in school. His teacher starts asking him, what does everybody want to be when they grow up? And Groot says, an evil, professional, evil villain. And I'm like, great. And this is where the Despicable Me comes in. There's this really interesting lady in this movie. When the minions are in Chinatown fighting the bad guys on the way to try to save Groot from being tied up and everything, and trying to rescue him, they end up running into this lady from fighting villains on the way in San Francisco, and they end up meeting this lady who is professional superhero kung fu master person. It's very, very interesting, and I thought, and the minions want to learn from her after she does her big moves and does defeat the bad guys. They beat the bad guys up and stuff, and it's they want to learn. The minions start saying, "Teach us kung fu." It's so funny. I mean, this movie, if you have not seen Rise of Groot yet, definitely recommend. This is my spoiler review because it's been out for about a year. It's been out for almost a half of a year now. It came out in July in theaters. It's been out on Netflix for a while. I just watched it. Really good movie. I would say between Despicable Me series and Rise of Groot, I prefer Rise of Groot. And I would say I really like the third Despicable Me movie because it had a lot of 80s music in it. That's why. And the the villain in the third movie was an 80s villain, because he was dressed up as a rock and roll villain. It was so cool. That was so cool. I consider Despicable Me my favorite one. And then I consider Minions probably my second most favorite in the Despicable Me franchise, in the series, in the same world. But next year we get Despicable Me 4, which comes out I believe in July, and we also get Kung Fu Panda 4 in March. So 2 Animation Universal Studios sister companies releasing 4 sequels next year. So with their 4 installments. Really, really cool. Besides that, I'm DJ Jack. Hit that subscribe button. You love this content. We'll talk later.